Hey, Jack Daniels Prime, how you doing, buddy? Do you hear an audio crackle at all, or is it maybe just my earphones? All right. I am tired. There ain't no doubt about it, bro. I uh I was the DJ at my son's school for their play day before the end of the year. And so I was out in the sun, and you hear a buzzing. Is it just like the whirl of my computer? Is it just my computer's fans, which I can't do much about? Does it sound like somebody's messing with like when you're plugging in a cord or something, there's like I don't know, like sound. Sound like that, or does it sound like my computer's fans? No, it was fun. We had a dance contest that I led. I led us in a air guitar contests. Each grade got an hour out there, and so we did that each hour, and putting on different music, and it was a good time. But man, was I whipped. I'm a little bit. I got almost overheated at one point, and just a lot of sun. I feel like I went to the beach without uh, with but not that kind of fun. Yeah, okay. Good night, Zardis. Ooh. Okay, I think we're good. Let's load this puppy up. See what we got. Going on, Painted Heptagon. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for showing up. I hadn't read until about 10 minutes ago anything from today because, as I was telling Jack Daniels, I was doing stuff at my kid's school today. It's also why my voice sounds the way it does because I've been yelling. But I did read that you were looking for uh, some sort of rail change, and I'll look into what you're talking about. Okay, here we go. Everything's still looking green there, except for the areas, which is always going to be yellow. That's good. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we are lagging now. Okay, I'm just going to pause it for now. Okay. 59,000 people. Holy frijoles, Batman. King Park. Who named it that? Yeah, I bought the new DLC, but I have not started the game with it. We have power lines, but they're not turned on. Okay. Kind of an interesting way to connect. I thought we would maybe do something here. We still really, I mean, I guess we at least we got something in round fours area. We got a lot of new stuff here. Oh, that's kind of neat. Get the little covered bridges. Is that an asset or what is that? I've never seen that before. Hey, what's going on, Darth Yoda? Welcome, welcome. I'm gonna let Jack Daniels tell you what's going on as far as what Discover is, and I'll tell you as much. It's a multiplayer game, and so Jack Daniels Prime and Painted Heptagon, among several others, are part of this game. And I represent the government of the game, and so I'm doing a turn where I will be working on connecting, adding land that they are able to build on, things like this. Definitely got, oh, too far. Definitely got some high rises going on here. It's looking quite good, actually, I would say. Oh, okay, buddy. I didn't realize you were part of it. I don't think I've. Do you have a different name in the in Zardis' server, or am I just oblivious? Which is completely possible. I'm halfway delirious right now, let alone oblivious. That's cool. We got a little park here, a little theme park. Got the stadium. Got some monorail going across. Nice. We got the bridge. I'll be honest, that's not how I thought it would be connected. Seems a little superfluous there. Well, I guess you got this connection here, so that works. You get a lot of people using that too. You might put a bigger connection right there. I'm not saying you have to, it's just it's what I would do. This looks like it's still working just fine. Yeah, that's all looking good. Now let's look at the trains. What's going on with the trains? Uh-oh. I must have forgot to do something. I know there's supposed to be a university right here. I think this is what we're talking about here. Supposed to ride, but you know what? It's a tunnel. Who cares? Don't save, just reload with the style on. Okay. Stop doing what? Okay, style. This one here. Okay. When you painted have to go, when you said you can stop doing that, what are you referring to? Being sleepy? Okay. Well, cool, man. I'm digging the city. Good night, Darth Yoda. Yeah, Team 2, this works for now. I think it actually looks pretty decent. But what I would do in the future, if this starts causing traffic issues, is I would stick that to going straight out like I do with, like, make it more like this. But that works for now just fine. That seems to be working. Let's check traffic out. 77% traffic flow, not bad for a committee center. Yeah, Team 1, y'all need to work on that a little bit. This connection is just a bit contrived. Just sticking it maybe straight to there might work better. I don't know. You do however you want to fix that, but that's probably one of the biggest problems I can see. That looks kind of bad. It looks kind of bad, but it's working. It's not like they're stopping. But this one, you got the backup going here. You know, I think this is all from that cargo station. What's going on with that? go. That's kind of weird. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so Jack, man, what am I doing? You're gonna have to walk me through this as if I'm like brain dead because I kind of am. What Paint a Heptagon? What were you talking about with the trains exactly? I know it had something to do with this junction, which trains coming from the north ought to be able to come through here, go around, and onto your district. And trains from the south ought to be able to come off and go this way to your district. And you can go both ways here. And this was divided so that that way and that way would be separated, which makes sense if you're making this kind of a train station. I apparently just got promoted. Hi. Go to our central station and connect the tracks going into the station. Thank you, kind sir. I'm kind of scared. I hope everything with Nuki is well. He is one of my favorite people, at least on the internet. So yeah, hope everything's good with him. Paint a Heptagon. I'm sorry. I don't understand what you mean. Do you want it to where this goes left as well and that goes right as well? Is that what you're asking me to do? Okay, let me follow one of these trains. God, it's laggy now. Because when I did this, by the way, Paint a Heptagon, I'm looking at it, but it was not accidental that I didn't cross the streams like that. Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of figured that would happen too, and I don't mind the lag, honestly. Like, I think lag in this game specifically bothers other people more than it bothers me. It's not the best for streaming, but what you gonna do? I got a hoss of a computer. It's not like that. My computer is a pushover, man. I got plenty of power and stuff. I actually, if I'm lacking anything in my computer, it's RAM. I think I only have 16 gigs. I need to add another 16 to it. So I guess what doesn't make sense to me, I see what you're saying. Like they're coming from your station and they're coming around this way to go out. Why they wouldn't use the other side of the track to do that? Does that make sense? Yeah, no kidding, Jack. I could use another 16 up here. Yeah, yeah. It's still running on 64K. I think I still got vacuum tubes up there. Let's see what this guy does with his 15 passengers. Yeah, so that solves that problem. Yeah, I think this summer, next time I go to Houston, I'll go to the computer store and get some upgraded RAM. All right. Yeah, Darth Yoda, I think so. Uh, Painted Heptagon, I think that solves the problem. If you see another problem or if there's something I'm not seeing, let me know. I apologize for yawning in your face, man. Now, I still don't see the university here. What's going on with that? Did y'all take it out or is something wrong? Oh, look, I got a name. Oh, Chris Tarantola Roundabout Plaza. Like it. Check if you have it. University. That would be it, wouldn't it? Yeah, I can do it. Goes right here, right? Bingo. Looks good. I love the park life. I really do. It really adds so much to the look of the city. It really does. I like it a lot, a lot, a lot. All right, man. Let's do something like this. Something happened on Discordia. Let me see what. Ah. Okay. No. You shouldn't have to have Surface Painter active for stuff that's been laid down by Surface Painter to show up. I thought. Am I mistaken about that? Hmm. This is being a bit of a pain. But oh well. I know this much. I don't want that there. Okay. Well, let me go back to this. The Christopher Tarantula Roundabout Park should have had a canal in it. I still think, Jack, that is a throwback and that is hilarious. I still think we should add Electric's Road Tools 2.0 to the approved mods list. I'm all for it. We just need to put that in the Jack. We just need to put that into the server in the general and have everybody vote on it. That's what I would say. Okay. Excuse me. Oh, where was the hospital at? Upper left corner. That's not hospital, man. That's not hospital. Right here, buddy. Done. Okay. Um. So, what is the intersection for Team Two's new area? You see it? What I intend this to be is a bypass, essentially, to go up to like here. Could come as soon as here, as late as here. And I'll let Team 2 route it, but it does need to come to here. And it should be nice and continuous. I don't think it should be done here. Or wait. No, it could be done there. I was thinking that was a tunnel that goes over to here, but that's just a tunnel to over here. Interesting. Yeah, I might actually rethink this and stick it to over here. But yeah, so what's going on is they're getting a new area. It is not connected to their existing area. This is a satellite town, essentially. And so I'm giving them some sort of access to the satellite. And it also kind of gives the satellite a reason to live. You know, it's here for two reasons. It has decent industrial access to, look over here. Come on. It has access to oil here. And then also, if they just wanted to build like a nice little suburb, they could. And so, yeah, that's what that's for. Yeah, I like doing it too. All right. Honestly, that'll help keep that from getting too backed up. This really would be a 3-lane asymmetrical road. That's how I would actually do that, but I'm not gonna fiddle with that. Oh, I need to switch directions on this, don't I? Uh, I this today, right now, in a little bit when I get to it. It's not in Team One's area. It's over here, separate from Team One's area. Team One's side of the river, but it's all right, Dak. I don't. It's all good, man. No worries. Okay. Let's look at the landscape here. See, I kind of want to put it towards that, but I don't want to put it on the same line as a trolley like that. So I'd say it just needs to go like pretty much straight on there, and then connect to there. But I'm not going to force that. I'll let Team 2 have a little bit of leeway. They got the connection there. They can make it work how they want to. All right, and it looks like we got people coming on it just to turn around. Because we had that. Don't we have a turnaround up here? No, we don't. But There, that way they can turn around without having to go through the whole dang thing. Let's see if we get any takers. You know, now I'm looking at this, what I would do in different. I would instead do it like this. Yeah, as soon as I looked at it, Jack Daniels, like he didn't even have to tell me. Like I knew it was wrong. I don't know. I don't know, man. Leave me alone. I'm trying, man. Leave me alone. Oh God. I'm having fun. I ain't gonna lie. I love this game. This relaxes me so much just getting to do this kind of thing. It's not. I don't know. I enjoy it. So. Okay. I think that's all good. Where are they coming from? They're not connected. Where are they coming from? Yeah, like why are they going that way? I don't get it. Like what the hell is going on with this AI? Did I do it wrong? I did it the right direction. I don't understand. Oh, the idiots. I'm drunk. I'm not drunk, but man, this is kind of this is one step away from drunk, I guess. Okay, now they're using it. Maybe I just had to wait, be more patient. That guy used it. Well, I think what happened is I just wasn't patient. So they had already spawned, and between when they spawn and where they get to where they're going, they don't check for new routes. So it sometimes takes a while for the old flow to go through before you get the new flow to follow the new route. I think that's what was going on there. If I was a betting man, if I was a betting man. All right. So there's that. Let's see. Now, I also gave this little area to Team 2 as well, in addition to this area. So, let us let's rename this Strawberry Hills. Okay. Team. Okay, it helps if you're actually typing on name and not Team 2 round 6. team to round 6. Also. I like it. Makes me laugh. Okay. Okie dokie. Oh, jeez. Oh, lords. Alright. So let's look. Let's make it proportional. I got a couple little things. I think we will do this area. Let me do a smaller. Yeah, so it's not a. I don't know if you were talking about the one I had before, but just it's just a bypass. It's not going to actually intersect. That way, when y'all get this area, I don't know if y'all want to like connect that or however y'all want to do it, but oh, okay. Can't we have the rail in our district? I mean, there are other train tracks in our district as well. Yeah, I took a few months break. I'll make it funny. From the game about a year ago, so I do wish I had more hours. Okay. And just make an easement, or however you write that. I think you wrote easement correctly, where the highway is. That intersection is not going to be good. Well, what I'm willing to do is I'm willing to give you this space here. But here's the deal. The rail is going to stay the way it is. So, and we're not connecting to Nuki Duke here. So you can build in that area if you build over my railroad tracks. But I like those the way they are. So it's an easement in that you can build over it, but I would ask not to mess with the railroad tracks. You could build an off-ramp as early as right here. You know, you'd have to change things up a little bit from how you have it, but it's not going to work up north. Keep explaining. I'll eventually understand what you're trying to say, buddy. It's me being tired and dense. It's not you. I'm sure. What happened there? Somebody messed it up. Okay, so I wouldn't want it on off ramp to this small road. If I was going to put it on off ramp, I'd want it to this road here. That's a major road. You'd want it not to a side road. So you would start the off ramp off here, or you could do something different, which is, just make some sort of lane. I'm not going to actually build it, but make a lane that goes underneath the rail here, and then connects to the district here, and then off right here, and then it's kind of direct connection, or however you want to do it, but you just do it within the bounds. That was always the intention. And you'll get this area here. So you can see, the thing is you don't want to do another intersection too close to this one, especially it being such a major intersection. You want to be at least as far away as here. So if I would do anything, I'd give you a little bit of space here to do it, I guess. If that's not enough space, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. All right, bro. Just make it look nice and clean for me. I know that you can. You're really good at that kind of stuff, so I'm not worried about that. In truth, you can build over or under the rail here. I would suggest just building over it. You can even. Above the highway. Yeah, so you'll get this area probably around 7 or 8. I don't really know, but that's what I'm thinking. I don't know if the avenue fits in our, and I don't know what that word is, OLAN. I don't know what you meant by that. Because I don't know if the avenue fits in our plan. Are you talking about this avenue here? Well, the bridge is intended to be future planning, to be clear. It's not intended for just this next round. The idea is that you will get this area at some point, and when you do, you'll want a bridge. I would think if you don't want the bridge, I don't know. Unless Jack says otherwise, I don't care. I'll take the bridge out. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. There we go. Well, no, I mean, we're having the conversation now. Let's be clear. I'm happy to talk to you. Would you rather it be a 2-lane bridge? I would think you want to have an avenue that extended this avenue over to all the way to here. That's what my thought was. Don't want to push. I'm opposed to pushing it up too much at first because I was actually thinking of connecting it. But if you want, I could connect it more up here. If that makes you happier, or I can just eliminate it. Excuse me. there for now. I'm not going to leave it that way. Well, I could do that, Jack Daniels, and you're my boss, so I'll do what you tell me to. But before I do, I would say, can we not? Because I would like the city to get this area filled in. Uh, Darth Yoda, that is correct, Bo. That's gonna be our little playground to build stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna leave Franklin Heights, and I'll rename it. But I'm gonna leave this here. I'm happy with that, and I'm happy to talk with Painted Hebdagon about what he's looking for. Um, you know, within boundaries. Within limits. So. All right, let's put this puppy in. I hear you, Painted. I'll get back to that in a second. All right, now the question is, should we just splurge to get the international airport, or should we stick with just a regional airport? If this was my game, I would go for the international airport. Personally, I think it looks better. I think it looks more like a regular airport. It's actually my airport here in Lubbock looks very much like this, not in architecture but in plan. Yeah, it does, and you know we can connect that when we feel appropriate. We could do that now. I mean, they got this line here. We could extend that around, and then it can go straight into Team One's area. I mean, I'm not going to actually throw it all the way into their area. I'll let them mess with it once they get it. All right. I voted, and Jack voted. Unless anybody else has major problems with it, I think that's what we're going to do. So I'm thinking something like this. Obviously, flatten the land, but this is kind of what I'm thinking, guys. And Nuki Duke will be the primary in and out. We obviously have a road that connects to Team 2 here. I don't know if we want to build another road that connects to Team 1 directly. Yes, I do want to build it now. I wanted to build it 3 turns ago, but maybe I'm being overzealous. You'll get the public transport as well, as far as I'm sorry, I can't do 2 things at once. Oh, I'm used to having extra landscaping tools. This is, uh, this is dreadful. Good thing we got infinite money. So I am spending like a fiend, apparently. This is never an issue for my city. I did all that leveling and I didn't even land my fucking airport on it. Excuse my language. Oy. I'm so tired. It's not even funny, guys. I'm laughing myself to sleep. Oh, is it? Okay. I wish I had it on right now. I'm not gonna stop just to turn it back on. I got it. I got what I needed done. See, everybody likes it. They liked it. All right. And don't worry, I'm not going to leave that as just a regular intersection. I'm not going to leave that in that direction, for that matter. All right. Can I? Are you're shitting me? I have been playing this game for God knows how long and didn't know I could do that. I can't. How do I do that? Move it and Alt. Help me out here. I'm holding down the Alt key and clicking. What am I doing? What am I doing wrong? Teach me, oh great one. Really? So do I just delete them? Do I just delete them over here? Or just move them out of the way? Oh my god. It's too late. I deleted all that shit. That's just gone. I can get the shape back. I ain't worried about that. That's sexy, man. Oh my god. Painted Heptagon, you just like went up 3 notches in my book. I'm just telling you right now. That's amazing. I love it. Oh, but I can't grab it. Well, this direction is wrong, not that direction. Here, Jack, this is just for you. I'm going to stop what I'm doing just to change this for you, okay? There. Okay? Alright? Okay. Okay. But how do I get in there to Get to these. Do I need to move this thing out of the way? I guess. I like that so much. It's not even funny. Okay. All right. Now, I don't have the roads I usually use, so I'm going to go copy you over here, buddy. What did you use over here? You just used just roads, huh? No, there's concrete. Or are you talking about over here? All this concrete here? Yeah, I don't know what to tell you guys. I've never used Surface Painter, so honestly, I don't, I'm not too able to help. I don't have Surface Painter on. I don't believe. You could maybe go back to the beginning. If you go back to the very beginning of this stream, um, I showed all the mods that I had on. You can see if I had it on. I don't remember it. What I might do. We don't have them. Really? Guess that's one of the DLCs that we don't have right now. I know what I'll do. Well, it's the one. It's the streets that are like pedestrian streets that you can actually zone on. Okay, and I always have network extension, so okay, I'll buy that. So really what my intention here is I don't want to let pretty much anybody on this sucker. Except I'll let emergency vehicles. It's really there for the pedestrians to use. And what I'll do is I will just do something like this. Oh. Okay. Alright, guys. Do y'all want me to actually connect? I was thinking I would just, like, throw it to here, then y'all would do with it what you will. Would you prefer connect, A, or just attach, B? Alright, there you go. Yeah, I guess we'll have to connect this at Team 3. It's on Team 3's turn next round. I don't know what else to do without y'all actually getting connections going. So when y'all put the infrastructure in, I'll put a line in. For now, I think we'll just throw a bus line or two. Team 1, where do you want this bus line to land? Do you want it to go all the way to over here, or do you want it to just go somewhere over here, or where do y'all want that? I guess I could put it wherever, and then y'all can move it to where y'all want. Central Station bus hub over here, or over here? Okay. Over here somewhere. Here's what I'm gonna do to save myself the time and trouble. I'm gonna throw it right there, or not. I guess it's not connected yet. Let's finish doing the road, shall we? Because there's no connection there. All right. Now. Oi, come on, come on, work with me. Oh yeah, come on, it's not working. Penises are everywhere. Everywhere. All right. So tired. Not even funny. All right, so I'm going to go this way. You can get off there and go that way. You can take a right there. You can go this way. You can come from here, go this way or that way. I think that's everywhere. I think everywhere is covered. Good night, Darth Yoda. Thanks for joining me, man. Appreciate it. Fine line, but we got it. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Good night, Jack. Oh, Jack, I'm so tired. I just got that you were saying goodnight to him and not saying goodnight as if you're leaving as well. I just got there. Woo. So we might need to work on the heights on this a little bit. Just a touch. Oh boy, pulling a double tonight. Okay, well I think I did that. What do y'all guys think? Does it just suck donkey dick? Or is it good? I like it. Okay. Now we can think about doing the bus line. Oh, that's good. Alright. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you on the buffering. It seems like it's a fine connect. I have an excellent connection according to uh, YouTube over here. Uh, Puts it on there for you. Love it. Team Sardis County IAP to Team 1 and Team 2. It's perfect. What else is there to do? Taxi stands. Okay. I usually do taxi stands, but where would you suggest putting the taxi stands? I'll look at that later. Painted Hepicon. Before I leave. Like on the outside curve here or up in here. Who should I still water from? Jack. Power from one, water from the other. Let's put my own water tower. Hi, Exo. Great to see you, buddy. You and me both, bud. You and me both. Uh-oh. We need sewage. Jack, we need sewage. What do we do? That's what I was thinking. Still the power from team 1, water from team 2, and call it a day. Man-made pool lake. I'll make the pool lake. I don't care. We'll put a nice little pool lake here. We can put fountains up in it. Make it like a Las Vegas fountain thing. No pool lakes. Oh gosh. I apologize for yawning in your face again. It's bound to happen though. I think I'm going to leave that to you guys to do. I'm going to leave King Park, and I'm going to leave... I mean, I can implement stuff, but... I was going to leave that to you guys to do. Yeah. But again, I guess Nuki Duke's taking a leave of absence, I realize. Why are we stopping here? There's no stopping here. No, sir. Well, Jack announced earlier over here that... Oh. That Nuki Duke will be taking, I guess, a leave of absence, and I have been... I was notified just tonight I was going to be, I guess, promoted to his position. Yep, pretty much. Everything removed. Oh God, I love your guys' humor. It's great. Which reminds me, I gotta go back over here. Just take it out. All right. I like that better. Or oh yeah, Chris or Christopher. Just don't call me stupid even when I am. Chris and Christopher are just fine. I I guess I also go by Architect Knight and Swifty Spider, but those aren't necessarily easier to say. Gotta get Swifty up in here, man. Oh yeah, gotta get Swifty in here. Chrissy. You know, my neighbor, or my father's neighbor, she calls me Chrissy all the time. Eh. Mm. Not my preference, but eh. I can't type. Okay. I don't know how obvious it is that I am just dragging ass like a dog with an itchy butt. But you digest. I digest food as well. I'm really good at it. Scotty da Hottie. You're killing me, dude. Okay. So Jack, am I starting to put the district together? Am I? Is that also? I might do that tomorrow. You'd like to run the ferry? Okay. That's not what I wanted. I disagree, um, Jack Daniels, and I will give you my reasons why, and then we can uh, talk talk it through. Um, I like the fact that there's no parking on the elevated section. Now, I would say that maybe altering this a little bit so that that's not so crunk. No, we can. Now, if you want, I could do this if it's bothering you. Will that work for you? Works for me. Okay. Kappa Pride. What? Exo, what the hell are you talking about, dude? I have no clue. Over the head, man. Way over my head. Okay. Put the Sea Fortress here. I'm not doing that. Think about y'all are pretty darn close over here. Let's see, am I in my district? Oh yeah, you've gone over the line. See, look, you're over the line there. I'm well within my district, buddy. Mr. Smarty Pants. I want to remove this. More like right here. I'm too tired to search to check. The tree branches. What are you talking about? Tree branches. Oh, I'm so tired. I literally read tree branches. TREE, not three. Oh, so I don't know that we want to zone any office in here. We'll leave that for you guys to be able to do, right? What I will do is throw a park. Heck yeah. I forgot we get park life, baby. Very carefully. I quite very carefully. What's this guy doing? What the hell are you doing? What the hell? Did y'all see that craziness? What? Yeah, the house was outside of his borders anyway. See, he's outside of his borders. I ain't worried about it. Hmm. I like it. All right, Jack. Anything else? Anything else? Anybody else? Oh, y'all were talking about something about a ferry? What are we talking about with the ferry? Remove Intercity 2. Where does it go? Where to where? Why wouldn't y'all want to have a bus from here to here, or at least from here to here? I mean, y'all could move it to here. You don't have to have it over there. Why wouldn't y'all want to have it from here to here? That was always the intention, that whatever connection y'all made, that's where the line would go. I'll just reduce it way down. Some people using it. And if y'all move it to other parts of your city, it might get used more. Right now, y'all have it right here on Team 2. If Team 2 brings it to someplace slightly different, I bet you it'd get used more. Okay. So bridges need to be changed. What bridges? Is this bridge tall enough? That's well within y'all's purview to change. Yeah, so what I'm thinking is, actually, that bridge and even this bridge and that bridge, I don't necessarily have a problem with raising. It's the rails that I don't necessarily want to raise, especially going into the tunnel. Well, in 5 terms, I still don't think I'm going to want to raise those rails, to be clear. If I raise these rails, then y'all would have to figure out what you're doing with this. They would have to stop being tunnels. You'd have to figure out what you're doing with the lines once they get into your district. So right now, what's going on? And that's tunneling all the way this thing over to here. Ooh. Yeah, I'm thinking the furthest back ferry's gonna go is maybe here. That's as far as any ferry will go. Yeah, so with the metro, I only put it to Team One's edge. I went ahead and connected it here because y'all had an obvious connection there. They have a less obvious connection here, so I don't know what they're going to want to do. And Paint have to go and say just put it to the edge, so that's what I did. So when they put the infrastructure in here, I'll go ahead and make a loop going from here to there, and then I assume to like here, and then across the river to this thing here. I assume, but you know, that's up to you guys to put in. If after on my next round, one way or the other, we'll make a line that goes to your guys if you want, or we can extend the yellow line. I've had the area there set up for 3 turns now, something like that, 2 or 3 turns. Yes, Scotty boy. Uh, Jack Daniels, I'll change the color of the bus line in a little bit. I didn't realize you had asked that before I did this, so once the cinematic's over, I'll go back and do that, buddy, okay? Well, I'm gonna be going to sleep pretty quick here, I'll tell you that much. That's not true. Some questions are really dumb. You can do whatever you want inside your city, buddy. They are highways. I don't understand that they're both highways already. Yeah, no. Painted Heptagon is with roundabouts like Will Ferrell is with Cowbell, okay? Not without next to. There was a. Yeah, no. This is a long road and it's going pretty slow at 30 frames per second. Oh, Scott, man, you are funny. I'll tell you that. You got a great sense of humor. So, Painted Heptagon. There was a Saturday Night Live skit. Oh, probably back 12, 15 years ago now, and there's a band from the 70s called Blue Oyster Cult, and they had a famous song called Don't Fear the Reaper, and they did a skit. It was kind of random of like, there's a cowbell in the song, and of the guy that plays the cowbell like wanting to play more cowbell, and then they had the producer played by another actor, Christopher Walken, and he sits there and he goes, "I got a fever, and the only cure is more cowbell. I gotta have more cowbell. I love that cowbell." And then he's in Del Doritos chip. Oh God, you guys crack me up. You guys know I manually turned it to 30 frames per second. It's not that the computer's going that slow per se, except that I've told it to do so because it'll make a smoother movie when I speed it back up in my my software. Yeah, I have definitely got to work on this tomorrow, guys, and so I'll upload it tomorrow. I promise I'll remember this time. I can already tell you, like all that work I did by the airport, I forgot to change the speed limits, no parking, and all that stuff. And I am just too tired to do it right now, honestly. So all I can do just to watch this damn video. You guys got to go watch that when this is done. I'm telling you, it is hilarious. Telling you, man, those roundabouts are painted heptagons, cowbell. I got a fever, and the only cure's more roundabouts. Gotta have more roundabouts. Not in all situations paint the heptagon. They definitely have their place. They definitely do. But their place isn't in every situation. There are two roads that touch. What's wrong with the grid city, man? I live in a grid city. It's really easy to get around. No traffic here at all, man. Not really. Except on game day right next to the stadium. But that's because the grid is broken up too much right there. Maybe in the game, but it's not boring to live here. At least not for that reason. Yeah, I was just looking at that. And I didn't like that. It's just the grading's not. There's not enough grading there. It's not realistic grading. There's EXO. That'll be cool, man. Oy vey. It's almost 1 o'clock here in the morning. I wake up usually about 7 a.m. So, yeah, that's looking cool right there. I'll tell you what. All right, I'm really fucking done now because I just realized my ugly face is on the recording and uh, I'm done. I'll do this another day. Fellas, I am heading to bed. Thank you for watching the painfulness that must have been this this session, guys. I'll get back on here tomorrow sometime, and I will finish this up. I may or may not stream that, but I really have fun with you guys being on here. It's really enjoyable, so I appreciate you guys. Good night, Christian. Hello, Christian, and good night, Christian. Good night, Scott. Good night, Painted. Good night, Jack. Grippin', Pippin, and Poe.